Hey everybody, Kat here. Welcome to the channel. Hope you're having a great day. It is Wednesday morning and we have a lot to talk about. King Charles. King Charles is crazy. He's a climate crisis hysteric. He's a feudalist. He's a mother weffer. He's the original mother weffer. And he has way more power and influence than you know. I've talked about this before. The monarch is very powerful. The monarchy. But it's hidden. It's been hidden. The mystery and the magic of royalty has been played up. They highlight the pomp and ceremony, the horses and the outfits and the marching and when you realize it isn't a parade but a show of power, your thinking shifts a little bit, you know? All the things we see today are signposts to a total global takeover that has the royal footprints all over it. I kid you not. I've talked about this before. And I mean, in the past, the royals, they were able to keep their machinations to themselves, hidden interests. But now it's a little different with the internet. We have the access to the information. We can, first of all, see what's going on. And despite the spin that's being put on it, we can ascertain what's really going on. I mean, all you have to do is look around you and you can get an idea of what's happening. Couple of things you may not be aware of. Get a hold of this. Terra Carta. What is that? It's an initiative by Charles, part of his green movement, incorporated in the World Economic Forum, which he founded. In such, he's proclaiming, he wants control over he's claiming authority over the earth, environmentally, Oh, King Charles has no power. They're good for tourism. What about Astra Carta? Another initiative where he proclaims authority over the heavens. In 2023, Charles revealed the new Astra Carta seal at a reception at Buckingham Palace during a space sustainability event. Have you ever heard such bullshit in your life? He wants sustainable living on Earth and in the heavens too. He's not happy with what he's got. He wants the heaven and the earth as well to be held hostage to his green agenda. Now, you wonder where Charles may have gotten this power. How is he heading up the World Economic Forum, which is every day working to steal our rights, working every day to enslave us? And it's his gig. As monarch, Charles has authority in all kinds of things that you'd never imagine. His actual power and influence is global. Did you know that every year Charles gives a speech? He opens the United Nations with a speech every year. Where did the United Nations come from? It grew out of the League of Nations, originally in World War One, which was created, so that we don't have any more wars. Not true, not true. It was created for completely different reasons. What did the League of Nations grow out of? Was it just thought up? No. Ever heard of the Royal Institute of International Affairs, otherwise known as Chatham House? Who the monarch, Charles, heads? This has morphed into the United Nations now. Charles still holds that much authority. And with this much authority, that he actually, Charles, he's either, we say to him, we say every day, look at the state of Great Britain, look at the state of the Commonwealth, look at what the World Economic, why is Charles allowing all of this to happen? Well, because he's the guy behind it all. It's time to realize this. Charles is either crazy or dangerous. Maybe both. Maybe both. Just look at the state of the sustainable efforts that he has chosen as his life work. Look at it. Wind farms. First of all, they're a blight on the landscape, right? Wind farms only work if the wind blows. The damage to sea life and birds is just horrible. And funny how these environmentalists, they will stop you farming or fishing or building a dam or chopping down a tree on your own land for the sake of, some spiny toad habitat or something. Yet, wind farms kill the sea life, kill the birds. It's okay, because in the name of their environmental initiatives, it's all right. It's all right. The whole thing is crazy. The hypocrisy runs deep through all of these green schemes. The wind turbines, they only have a lifespan of about 20 years. Then the whole bloody thing has to be replaced. Disposing of the old ones has been a real problem, real tricky. They've only gotten around in the last couple of years to learn how to actually take them apart and recycle some of it. Before that, they were actually burying the blades in landfill. That's good for the environment. Not to mention the bloody things only work if you've got wind. It's absolutely insane. And I mean, this, just one example, but this is the big dirty secret about all the green initiatives. They don't work. They are not economical. They are not sustainable. They are not even ultimately good for the earth, which is supposed to be their stated goal. Charles, as you know, has just partnered with the UK government. I think it's called UK Energy or British Energy, something like that, to expand offshore wind farms around the UK. Well, now we know that Charles owns the seabed around the UK. So anything put on there, he makes a profit from. Ta-da! The original ones that are there now, before the expansion, Charles has been raking in a 25% profit. Now, He said with this new partnering with the government, of course, he will give back more to the people. And I've talked about this before. So he's not going to take 25%. What's he going to take? 24? 2%? How much is going back to the people? First of all, one thing you have to know, any scheme that the monarch, or even William, yeah, for that matter, Harry too, anything that they get involved with that's a partnership with the government, where do you think the money comes from? It's not coming. Great British Energy, that's the name of this new wind farm scheme. Where do you think the money to buy the windmills to place on Charles's seabeds, where do you think that money's coming from? Well, it's coming from the government. Where does the government get its money? From you. From the taxpayer. That's right. So Charles's wind farm expansion scheme is funded by you. And you're going to be the recipient of what happens. You know, they can't handle their energy issues now, but they want to rely on this. You know, Charles doesn't care. He's making a profit on the backs of his people. I've talked about this before. He makes a profit whether it works or not, whether it provides enough energy or not. All programs with government involvement are funded by the taxpayer. Britain, Canada, Australia, anywhere. It's the same anywhere. And now another example of the public paying for their own, it's just another example. Of the public paying for their own enslavement. Now let's look at another green program. Solar. In the UK alone, around 17,000 hectares of land is being used for solar farms. Land that was once mostly agricultural. Now the government targets to reach net zero by 2050 will see the destruction of even more farmland to expand the solar program. Over 70% of the solar panels used come from China. So, you've got the costs, you've got tariffs, you've got the dependency on China for this, because of course they don't produce anything themselves. And again, the life of a solar panel is about 20 years, so they constantly have to be maintained and replaced. And again, solar power only works when the sun's shining. Clear sunny days are few and far between as it is in Great Britain. To top it all off, you want to know what peak insanity is? Britain is planning to expand their solar farms and chew up farmland. They're going to increase their reliance on solar, and they have just passed legislation to approve a program to block out the sun in the name of climate change. They got to cool the earth, block out the sun. But we're going to use all the taxpayers for solar power because we need sustainable power. We need solar power, but we're going to block it out. Have you heard anything so insane? Block out the sun. We need the sun. And in their heads, it's okay because it doesn't matter to them. It's only going to be a problem for you and me. You know? It's insane. It's insane. Let's get this right. So they're going to inflict scarcity on the public in the name of saving the planet. I mean, I tell you, I could do this. Give me any green initiative. It's nothing but an imposition of their will on us. I can argue any point. Recycling, clean water, any of their issues. None of it makes sense. It's all insane. It doesn't work. Don't get me started on electric vehicles. Oh my God. They want to block out the sun for the sake of climate crisis. Got to cool the earth. Block out the sun. Nothing grows. Well, it doesn't matter to them because the farmland is covered in solar panels and the sea is polluted with wind farms. No worries. They got a plan. They're going to feed us insect protein and lab-grown meat. It's already starting. Time to start checking those labels, folks. I'm not kidding. And here we have the king that we're supposed to look to. Charles is a founding member of the World Economic Forum. All of this is his vision. You got to wrap your head around that. And even though we see none of these so-called solutions are actually sustainable, none of them actually work, when you look at it, none of it makes any sense at all. It's insane. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Charles, the World Economic Forum, and the elites that are running the show, they're only interested in putting us under total control. And Charles sits at the top of this pyramid. And he, like all the other elitist mother weffer climate zealots, they're all crazy and dangerous. And that is something that we really have to come to grips with. You don't know who. You gotta identify the problem. You've got to identify who's behind things before you know what to do about it. The problem isn't climate change or, carbon. You are the carbon they want to reduce. Okay? Fact. We got to come to the realization of what's really going on and who's who in the big global scheme of things before we know how to react and how to behave. And, information is power. Why do you think they like to limit the information that you get? So here you go. King Charles. He's not your friend. Have a good day, everybody. Like, subscribe, leave me a comment, leave me a tip. We'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.